Welcome to episode 14 of the Tabletop Life podcast. My name is Matt, and I'm joined, as always, by my amazing co-host, Michael.
Hello.
Today, we come to you less than 60 days from Gencon, and I believe Michael just bought his ticket.
I did.
We're officially both in.
1 week before it ups the price.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this, be sure to go ahead and order that. I think July 2nd is the date, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
Yeah, so that's what you want to do. You definitely want to get your tickets before then, if you have not already.
Because I believe they go up an extra $20.
Mm-hmm. And we'll circle back to this in just a minute, because we totally have way more Gen Con to talk about today. But, yeah, we were browsing through some of the sessions last night, and there's just, it boggles my mind. I think it was over 17,000 sessions are going to be available over all of 4 days.
It's a lot of stuff.
I know. I'm pumped, though. I've been really, really looking forward to Gen Con again. Last year was a great time.
Yep, this year should be even better because we kind of have an idea of what we're doing.
And this is the 50th anniversary, so this one's going to be apparently even more packed than last year.
Might have to get some T-shirts.
Uh-oh. You can already order them. I saw that on the website when I was checking. Yeah, they had a thing like a merch store. You can just order it directly and have it instead of buying it at the show. But it always feels cooler to buy it at the show, I guess. So it makes no sense, but it's like buying concert shirts. You know, you can order a Nickelback shirt any day of the week, but why would you unless you're there? Is that wound too fresh to bring up?
Yes, it is too fresh.
Oh gosh. So, we'll tell a brief story before we get back into this. We've had a lot of rain here recently in Indiana, and a few of our friends, including Michael and I, had all got tickets to go see a Nickelback concert in, it's about Indianapolis, this past Friday. And it rained so much that the concert got canceled 10 minutes before we got there.
After a 2-hour drive.
After a 2-hour drive, yeah. And it was pretty upsetting for a lot of people because the venue had been on Twitter all day saying, it's a rain or shine show. You know, we don't cancel. It's rain or shine. So our weekend has been totally off key. And then they rescheduled it for a Tuesday in August.
So that's not going to work.
I don't know who goes to concerts on Tuesday nights, but you are tougher than I am, sir or madam. But we're closing out the weekend with a brand new episode of Tabletop Live, so that really solves everything right there.
For sure. We still got our gaming in.
We did, yes, it's true. So, we do have one little bit of follow-up from last episode, and that is the NBA Finals. I was impressed. I mean, with the addition of Kevin Durant, Golden State is kind of...
unstoppable?
I think unstoppable is a very good word for it. They won the finals in 5 games.
Yeah, I mean, they almost swept the entire playoffs.
They almost... Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable.
I mean,
that might run the NBA for a few years here.
I was talking to it with a coworker about... because he's big into basketball as well. And I told him, I said, it's kind of cool watching the Warriors because it reminds me, and of course they are statistically way better, but it reminds me of when I was a kid and you got to watch like the Bulls play. Because like you would go on TV, if they were on TV and, Jordan and Pippen, they just dominated. And it was just fun to watch them play because you could tell they were having such a good time. I get that same vibe from Golden State. It's just like, they're just out there having a ton of fun.
Yeah, well, of course they are. They're dominating.
Yeah, but I mean, like when the Bulls won, what was it, 6 championships?
7, I thought. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
But yeah, I mean, no, it just feels like it reminds me of that Jordan era. Steph Curry's phenomenal. I mean, I'm not going to say he's better than Jordan, but he's...
I think it was 6 championships. Oh, man.
Oh,
can you edit that out of there for me?
Not now. Not now that you asked. Oh, man.
Yep, I was incorrect. I'm sure people were screaming at me. Idiot!
So what did you think? Did you expect Golden State to take it so fast, or did you think Cleveland would put up more of a fight?
I expected there be Cleveland put up more of a fight. I mean, I think on one of our shows when we were talking about it, I thought Cleveland might actually still win it. So I definitely expected more than that.
So, do you think LeBron? Because he's got what, 1 year left in Cleveland?
Mm-hmm.
You think he'll stick around? Or you think he'll try to go make another super team?
How can you leave again? Can you do? I don't know if you can do that.
He's already done it once. Well, I mean, why not?
I don't see why you don't go for Paul George and compete next year.
Yeah, you know why? Because he's going to the Lakers.
Still, you can still bring in Paul George for the year. As much as I'd hate to see that, as an Indiana fan,
at this point, it's just certain. Like Paul George does not want to be.
Oh
in
no,
Indiana,
for sure.
correct?
Yeah, he's going. He's like
I'm done.
He's already said he wants to go to L.A. after next year.
He says there's no In-N-Out burger here. He's over.
Well, he's from the L.A. area, so that's kind of like him going home to finish his career. I mean, I see why he did it, but it doesn't make me any happier about it.
I mean, you got to feel for him because it's like he's not going to win a championship.
Well, he's not going to win one at L.A. either. I wouldn't think. I don't see them being better than Golden State by the time he's done with his career.
Yeah, that is true. They said they were going to free up $60 million, I think, in cap room.
I mean, they might be good in 5 to 6 years, but by then, Paul George is 32, 33 years old. In basketball years, that's not good. Your knees start to get a little weak, especially when you've shattered a leg.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I'll be surprised. I think with the whole LeVar Ball and all that mess, I don't know. I don't know why you'd go. I know he's a good player, but that's a lot of extra baggage to have to deal with.
Well, at least we've got, like you said, a few more years to look forward to of Golden State just dominating, which I'm okay with. I like Golden State. I really do.
I bet you do.
Okay. Whenever the Heat won there for a couple of years, I just hated them. I can't stand the Heat. But for some reason, Golden State, I don't know what it is. You're happy for them. You're like, these guys seem so... Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, how can you not like them?
I mean, I could not like them, but it doesn't bother me.
They just seem like such nice guys.
I don't know. I think you're reading a lot into it.
Yeah, probably so. Oh, heck. All right, well, I suppose we could talk about... What's this podcast about again?
Board games, maybe?
Yes. Oh, I've been waiting to talk about Monopoly for the longest time.
We got some news.
We do have some news. So... I'm not a liar. I told you we would come back to talking about Gencon. And so let's start our news off with Gencon has just announced that they're close to selling out on badges. So apparently this has not happened before.
Has it not?
But being kind of the 50th anniversary, they're having, I guess more interest than usual. They are reaching maximum capacity, and they are thinking this year they may actually do it. See, here is directly from the announcement. It says, we'll begin to cap 2017 badge sales if current trends hold. They are recommending that if you're interested, you purchase the 4-day and single-day badges as soon as possible to guarantee entry. So you can still purchase badges right now at gencon.com while supplies last. We'll begin capping badges when we reach our internal attendance estimates. They have previously capped trade day and individual badge types, but never the 4-day or single-day badges. So
that means it's going to be super full.
Well, that's why they keep expanding out, because they can't fit it all. They're taking over all of downtown Indianapolis.
Yeah.
It's now taking place at the Convention Center, the Lucas Oil Stadium, and participating hotels. There'll be more than 500 exhibitors, 17,000 events, and an exclusive concert from Grammy-winning recording artist They Might Be Giants.
Granny winning? What's a granny winning?
They win a grandmother. It's not quite a Grammy, but it's close.
So close.
You're Grammy winners. Or Granny winners, I guess, depending.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think we're going to have a lot better plan of attack than we did last year, where we kind of just spent most of the morning wandering around trying to figure everything out.
Wandering around was so amazing, though. There was so much stuff to take in.
I feel like the first hour, though, we kind of just wandered and didn't really know where to go.
Aimlessly wandered. 51 days from today, according to Gencon.com.
We're going to try to get there earlier this year, right?
Correct, we will, yeah. I'm not a big fan of mornings, but we'll do it. We'll have to, I mean, maybe by next episode, we'll plan out some sort of a listener meetup. We'll get some stuff together, and so I'm sure we'll definitely be talking about Gen Con more in our July episode, so. Okay, moving on. We have not yet done an episode about Pandemic Legacy, but the Z-Man Games has just announced Pandemic Legacy Season 2. So, I don't know about you, but I'm really pumped about this.
We still have to play Season 1.
I know, but I'm so excited for another, that they're continuing this.
Yeah, that is neat.
It's not coming out till the fall.
We still have to play 8 games of the other one.
Yeah, it gives us some time.
Yeah, we need to bust that out and see how we do on it.
It looks actually quite a bit different
than the one that you got?
Well, I haven't played Season 1. So.
We looked at it.
It says, this one seems to be more like dire straits. Like, there's only so much of the world left.
So Season 1 must not go very well.
Spoiler alert. We lose.
Yep. We need to play that first one. At least get our opening game in on it.
Yeah, so I don't want to really do any spoiler stuff here for people who haven't played Season 1, including us.
Yeah, you better just stop. You're going to read something and ruin it.
Ruiner! Okay. This explains kind of what I was looking at. It says, the world players enter at the beginning of Pandemic Legacy Season 2 has changed significantly since Pandemic Legacy Season 1. As you begin your first game, only a small portion of the world is visible, the few surviving cities that remain on the grid. On top of supplying the mainland with antibiotics, food, medicine, and tools it needs to survive, you must explore the once known parts of the globe that have since gone dark. Once there, your team will make discoveries and encounter new dangers and challenges as you search for answers. So that's really cool. There seems to be more of like a kind of reclaiming the globe aspect to this. So, says you do not need to have played Pandemic Legacy Season 1 to experience Pandemic Legacy Season 2.
There you go.
But I totally want to. So. And they, of course, mentioned here they will have a sneak peek at Gen Con. So. We got to play it before Gen Con, so we got to test that out.
Yep. So I see you have in the notes here that Star Wars Destiny is coming out with another set. That should be fun. If we could only find any of the other sets. Yeah.
So I think the glutton for punishment inside of me wanted to put this in the show notes, but so they're doing another expansion, which is really cool because it's got Grand Admiral Thrawn. It seems to go back to more of like the original trilogy, like 4, 5, and 6. But you still can't buy any of them. I literally checked, before I posted this, I checked the online store for Fantasy Flight Games. And every single Star Wars Destiny starter pack and booster pack says out of stock. Like, why are they even making more at this point? I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand why they're not making... Why would they not just re-up the old? I don't get it.
What? So, this expansion pack is coming out this fall. It's not out yet. The one they just released or supposedly, I'm going to keep it at allegedly released this summer or this spring sometime. Is the Rogue One Spirit of Rebellion. I don't know if it's ever been on sale. I don't know anyone who has it. I don't know anyone who's seen it in real life. Like, I would release, especially if a game has had as much trouble as this one has had with just existing. I would try to get one expansion pack out there and put it on store shelves before I would do my next one.
Yeah.
Unless they've got some contract with Disney where they just got to keep pumping them out, I do not understand their logic. Nothing. If you go to Fantasy Flight Games, nothing is available.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. There's nothing there.
So, I don't know. I would still love to play Star Wars Destiny one day, but
yeah, I think you might just have to give up that dream.
Yeah, I think so.
For now, at least. Maybe they'll do like a big reprint, and there'll be plenty after that. But
this may just be one of those games that, like, has a very, very small but loyal following, and it just doesn't grow.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a shame, because a lot of the reviews I've read from people who, all 5 people who own it, they love it.
You do know people that have it?
No, just reviews I've read online from people who allegedly were able to get copies of it. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. Maybe we'll track these guys, track Fantasy Flight down at Gencon and be like, what the hell, guys? Where is it?
I am actually seeing some packs on Amazon right now that actually are in stock. Believe it.
Yeah, the problem with Amazon is they're like 6 times the price.
Yeah. Well, it's not. I mean, it's $24. It's $15, I think, on their website. Here's one for $19 for the Ray starter set. That's not bad. If you did want to give it a whirl, you can get both of them. Or maybe you don't want to go down that wormhole that will never get out and never get new cards.
Well, yeah, even if you, and this is sold by an imports place, so I'm looking at. So even if this is legit and you get it, you still can't get any of the expansions, and there's hardly no one to play with.
Nope.
I mean, a game like this really has to have a large community to really succeed. I mean, that's kind of like my understanding is it plays like a Magic the Gathering or Pokemon cards or Yu-Gi-Oh, that kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, if none of your friends have any cards to play with, then how's that work? That's what I get.
I have no idea.
I feel like they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot with this limited release.
Yeah.
thing.
Well, maybe it is. Maybe it's a contract deal with Disney where they can't produce anymore.
That doesn't make sense, though, because let's face it. The Disney we know loves money. And this is essentially them saying, yeah, we know you guys want to buy this stuff, but we don't want your money. Doesn't seem very Disney to me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very weird.
It's super weird. So, but I guess if you really like Star Wars Destiny, now there's more pictures you can look at on the website. You can't order it, but it's there. Okay, well, I'll stop hating on Star Wars Destiny now, I guess.
Now we can
Shall we move
completely
on to games of
change our
interest?
pace completely and go to games of interest.
Yeah. I know we're like super pumped up, and then Star Wars Destiny kind of brought us down. And, all right, let's pump back up here. Michael, tell us about your game of interest, Kaiju Crush.
Well, I actually was just searching for some upcoming games this morning, and I saw this one's coming out in November, I believe. And it's like I think you control the Kaijus and you destroy the cities, and you would also be battling each other. And it's kind of like a fighting game where you do some grid movement and combat and things like that. Looks interesting. They have another game. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. They have another game that seems similar where you go across the city as a monster. And this just has the mixture of the Godzilla aspect. Just made it a little interesting to me.
So for those of us who are uninitiated, a Kaiju is just a monster?
Kaiju is, yes, a monster. And I believe that is what they all the monsters in the Godzilla universe.
Okay. Got it. My Japanese is a little rusty, so thank you.
So it's if you look at I don't know if you loaded up the note or whatever, but the box actually shows some of the Godzilla creatures on the front of it.
That's what I was checking out here. Mecha Kaiser Steganox.
So that's my game. We'll see what comes of it. It did look interesting.
It would be interesting to see like a game like this where you like kind of destroy a city. Very cool.
Like I said, there is another game that involves this, but I cannot think of what it's called. It's something about monsters and King of Tokyo. I don't know if it's very similar to that game, but I'm guessing it probably is. I guess it's probably not going to be the exact same, or they wouldn't be making it, but
yeah,
something in that genre of game. What's your game of interest?
Well, this month, this is actually recommended to me by someone else I know who does gaming, and I've heard a lot of good things about it. It's called One Night Ultimate Werewolf. It's a super quick, like party style game. Games last 10 minutes, and no two games are alike, so you can kind of go through it really, really fast. But it's up to 10 players, and everyone gets a role. It's like mostly like a card kind of game. So you're trying to find out who's the werewolf, and every character that you can draw and or become, let's see, there's a dozen characters. Each of them has a special ability, and you're trying to figure out who is the werewolf.
I think I've actually looked into that before. Because isn't it in like the $15 to $20 range?
Exactly. It's super cheap. It's like $14.33 from Amazon right now. So it's just a cheap, fun game you can pick up and play, and it seems like it would be a great either start up the night with or wind the night down with.
Yeah.
Or you might just play it over and over and over again. I don't know. There are other variations of this. There's a one-night ultimate werewolf daybreak. I guess I'm not sure if it's like an expansion or you can combine it somehow though.
Now, what's the suggested minimum amount of people to play it?
3 to 10 players.
Because if it's made for 10, I would imagine games are probably better. Or 6 and up.
Best says 6 to 8.
There we go.
The minimum is
3. You might be having a Captain Sonar issue on that one.
That's true.
Need our group. I mean, I'm sure it'd be fun. But it seems like a game that's probably made for multiple people, so we'd need at least 6.
Well, so it'd be a great game to have if you were having a party or something and had a bunch of people over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to do a lot better at a party than Doom, you know. That's going to kind of slow down the night.
Depending on who you have over.
Yeah. So, we'll put links in the show notes to both of these. They look cool, though. I might have to check them out here pretty soon. All right. Well, are you ready to talk about our game of the month?
Let's do it.
So this month we played Kingdom Builder. It is published by Queen Games, designed by Donald Vaccarino. It's 2 to 4 players, and it's recommended for 4 players, according to BoardGameGeek.com. Do you want to give us a little more info on Kingdom Builder, Michael?
Yeah, I can give you a little rundown of how it works. So each person that plays, it's 2 to 4 player, has a 40 of these little house meeple things. I guess they're not meeples, but they're like little houses.
Heeples.
Heeples. I'm sure there's actually a real name for it, and it might be heeples.
That's just sarcasm, pure sarcasm.
But you will, on this map, there's all these different types of terrain, like caves and grassland and mountains and flowers, and there's just waterways, and you will be drawing from a deck of cards, and it'll have a different terrain on it. And you'll have to play 3, and it's always 3, of your settlements onto whatever terrain it is you draw. what it starts getting complicated later in the game is early on you want to kind of spread your different settlements out around the map. And after you lay your initial settlements, from every terrain you draw after that, you have to always play off your original settlement if possible. So if you start out wrong and have 3 or 4 different types of terrain that your original buildings are touching, you have a good chance you're not going to be able to spread out early in the game. To score points in the game, you have a deck, I believe, of 9 different objectives, and each one of those gives you bonus points depending on what it is. Some are like building on horizontal lines, some are connecting different locations on the board, things like that. And that's how you score your points. You also get 3 points for every one of your kingdoms that you build a settlement next to. So there's a couple different ways to score points, and really it's a pretty fast-paced game. I believe 30 to 45 minutes. I think 40 minutes is suggested, but I think we were knocking them off in 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
But it's an easy game for someone to pick up as a group and play.
Yeah, I played it for the first time, and the second game I felt completely comfortable with it, really. And the first game I kind of figured it out, and so, I mean, you got a half-hour learning curve. It's nothing.
Yeah, and it's a quick enough and easy enough game that you can play around and not burn the whole night playing a trial run, which is always good.
Yeah, I mean, the premise is super simple. I mean, there's strategy, but it's very simplistic strategy. It's the speed you have to kind of go at. Like, I don't know, it's, you don't have like a deck of cards. You don't have stuff you have to manage. It's just draw, and then where do you want to place it at?
Yep.
And the game really limits you. You can look, but I mean, it's not like you have like 10 different options. It's more like 1 or 2. So
now the game, I believe there's like maybe 9 or 10 different map like terrain pieces. So you can make a bunch of different combination of maps. And each one of those has a specific like bonus location that also gives an extra ability as well. Like one of them's a watchtower, and you can build on the edge of the map once per turn. And then there's other ones that move your settlements, things like that. And that mixes a little strategy into it as well. Once you get those later in the game, you're not always laying 3 settlements down in return. You might be laying 4 or 5. And then once again, that kind of comes into strategy. Do you burn the extra settlements, or do you hold on to them? You might get an extra turn out of it in the end of the game. You kind of got to think a little bit long-term on it, where you're placing stuff.
One thing I really liked about this game was the flexibility. Like, between the 4 different like quadrants you kind of lock together to create different boards, if you combine that with the 3 cards like you draw for your bonus points, you got so many different combinations. Like, we played 2 games back to back, and they were completely different. The style that I played in the first game would have done nothing in the second game, and vice versa. Like, So the premise is the same, but it's like multiple games in the box, which is really cool.
Yeah, I believe our first one was all about connecting our different locations and building on horizontal lines and things like that to try to get your bonus points. The second round we played, it was all about building in all the different pieces of the map and having the biggest city, and then we also had the card that rewards you having the smallest. So they kind of offset each other a little bit, but it made for a very interesting end of the game. We really had no idea who was going to win or where the points were until the very end of the game.
Yeah, it came down right to the wire. It was really close.
It ended up being a 4-point game.
That was super fun, too. Okay, so let's discuss the board itself. So there are 5, I believe, different types of spaces on the board, and the entire board is made of hexagons, which all connect together. And you place your 3 pieces when you go in these hexagons, as long as they connect. The biomes are grass, forest, desert, cave, and flowers. Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And those are the ones that they match up to the cards that Michael was talking about.
And then there's also water and mountains on the board that split up some of the different regions.
Mm-hmm. And they come into play because, like, we had the first game we play, like he said, one of our bonus point objectives was to connect your castles together. Well, if there's a river in between those castles, you've got to try to go all the way around. And, you know, if you don't get the right cards, you end up just building off of what you've already got. You can go in the wrong way. There's not much you can do about it either. So, I will say, this is a good example. In our, I think it was the second game, Michael drew a flower card, which blocked me from connecting two of my cities, which would have made the game much closer.
Probably would have won the game for you, since it was only a 4-point game.
Yeah.
So there was definitely a little luck involved with that win.
But I'm just saying that was one card that made the entire difference in the game. So the cards you draw for the different like types of locations, that's everything really in this game. Because you can have great strategy, but if you don't draw the right cards, you can't put that strategy to a very good use.
Yeah, overall, it's a really fun game.
I'd be interested to play it with more people. Well, what's the most you can play this with?
4.
4?
Now, I will say, until last night, I had never won the game, and it was a lot less fun when I had never won it.
I had a good time, even though I did not win.
The second game was really fun. The objectives we drew in that second one really made the game.
Yeah.
The first one was fun, and I've played with the first game we played was with the starter map they want you to play with and the starter objectives, and I've played that probably 3 or 4 times. And that second round, we drew some good cards. That was a good fun game.
Yeah.
Now there is 2 decks of cards in the game. I believe the other one's German, so make sure you grab the English deck.
We did find that out, yeah. Which is cool, though, that it comes in 2 languages, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, they probably just print one version for everybody then.
It was nice that they're... maybe it's like a dummy, I guess, but it was nice there wasn't so much strategy to it. Like, you could just kind of play, and it was fun. I don't know, I guess it seems dumb to talk about, oh, thank God this game was fun, but, you know. A lot of these games, it feels like there's so much to keep track of and so much, you know, management to do. I know I've said that before, but it's kind of nice just to have one where you can just kind of kick back. And this is totally a game where you can sit there and, you know, have a drink and be conversing and, you know, still do fine. Yeah.
And the game still go quickly, too.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking maybe 30 seconds that you're in a turn. Because you have to, you know, play off of your civilization if you can. And honestly, if you can't play off of your current civilization, you've probably got a pretty good idea where you want to go. Because you can look at it very quickly and say, you know, okay, I'm not touching a desert, or I want to be in a desert, or there's a castle over there, or I want to be near the tower, or, you know, it's not like a hard decision. So you guys pick where you want to go and drop your 3 settlements down and on to the next player. And the game ends whenever a player runs out of settlements.
Yeah, it goes back to you have to play 3 at a time. So if you don't have 3 to play, then the game's over. Nice little 30-minute game, 30, 40 minutes. You can either play a few games of that or play that in another game. I always enjoy the quick games where you can get in a few games.
Well, it makes you feel good because that way, like, especially like this one, like, let's just say the first time you played it, the rules did not work in your favor. The second time, you know, the game could be so different that, like I said, it's almost like a separate game. It's not like a game where you, even if it goes fast, if you play it and you're not doing well at it, the prospect of starting another game where you're going to probably lose again, not so enticing. But with this, it's super, super flexible. I really like that about it.
So you would suggest it?
Oh, totally, yeah. I mean, and it's quite affordable, too. I think it's going for like $32 on Amazon right now.
And I think I got it for way cheaper than that, like $18, as I believe is what I paid for it.
Oh, yeah. If you could get it for under $20, it's a no-brainer.
If you watch it, the price does fluctuate quite a bit on it. But honestly, I mean, I'd even pay $30 or $40 for it.
Oh, yeah. I'd say it's totally worth $30.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good little game and good for the crew.
Yeah, I said there's no dice, there's no holding cards in your hand or managing all this. It's just draw a card, do what it says. Draw a card, do what it says.
Yeah, and it still has enough strategy in it to keep you interested.
Yeah,
and enough replayability to keep it fresh.
And it's fast enough to where you don't really get frustrated if you make a mistake or
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very nice blend of not strategy and strategy, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely one I would like to play more.
Well, come on over.
And the art's not bad. I mean, it's very basic. It's the same, grass and deserts and forests that you've seen in a lot of these other types of games, but the board's attractive, the cards are attractive, the little houses are, they're fine. It's nice. They've kind of vary. Like most of these games, the pieces are red and green and blue, and we got orange, blue, black, and wood in this one, which is kind of cool.
You could always paint them whatever color you wanted, though.
That's true. I always take you one of those figurine painting classes at Gencon, and you could design some fancy little houses.
Yeah.
You could paint little doors and windows on them.
Well, let's do it. I'm down. We need to learn how to paint.
There's 40 of them. Oh my gosh, 40 per color. If you want to paint 160, what do we call them, heeples?
Heeples.
That's a lot of weeples to paint.
Well, I bet it's quicker than whenever I was buying that clay and making the pieces for Agricola and carving the different logs and hay bales and
oh gosh,
baking them in. I mean, that was a grueling process. It was fun though.
Well, as long as you're doing the baking and the painting, I'm all for it. Probably one of my favorite ones we've played this year. To be completely honest with you.
Really? That's surprising.
Yep. It's got a really good feel to it, a really good blend of the different pieces. I mean,
it's surprising.
I still like still waiting to do Doom. It's fun to play, but it's nice. I mean, you don't want to do that all the time.
Yeah,
it's a very nice alternative. It fits very neatly in the middle of like the party games that are no depth to them, that are just meant to just tear through, and the super deep games like Doom or Star Wars X-Wing, where you're sitting down and committing 3 hours of your life to almost like a role-playing game at that point, really. So it's a very, very nice in between. That's the best way I can describe it. Any final thoughts on Kingdom Builder?
I don't think so. I think I pretty much covered it.
Yeah. Cool. All right, well, next month in our July episode, right before Gen Con, we're going to be playing Imhotep, and I'm sure that we'll discuss a little bit more Gen Con as well. So,
for sure, probably way more than because we'll be really excited.
So, while you wait for that to drop, you can find this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and YouTube. You should get that YouTube version up a few days after the audio version posts. And you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Tabletop Life to get the latest information and gaming photos and news. Or you can visit our website at www.tabletopLifepodcast.com to get all the links to the show notes in this episode and also see photos from our gaming sessions and any other cool stuff we post on there. Plus links to all the games that we've talked about on this episode. So, that's all I've got for episode 14. You got anything else, Michael?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, until next time, game over.
See ya.